Today we're going to walk through the facts of the Oklahoma City bombing. It was a really important and tragic event in American history, and understanding what happened is our goal here. Let's get started.
Our story starts at a very specific time, 9:02 in the morning.
And this is the place, Oklahoma City, on what seemed like just a normal Wednesday morning, but everything was about to change. So let's begin by looking at the attack itself and what happened at the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building that morning.
A big Ryder rental truck was parked just outside the building. All of a sudden, it exploded. The blast was huge, so powerful that it completely tore away the front third of the entire 9-story building.
So what was this bomb? Well, it was a homemade explosive, sometimes called an ANFO bomb. It was made by mixing about 5,000 pounds of fertilizer with fuel oil. All of that together created an unbelievable amount of destructive force.
The damage was just immense. Inside the Murrah building, the floors just collapsed one on top of the other like a stack of pancakes. The explosion was so big, it damaged or destroyed more than 300 other buildings nearby. Cars on the street were burned up. People who saw it said the whole area looked like a war zone.
Right away, a massive investigation got started. Let's look at how the investigators began to piece together the evidence.
It turned out that one key piece of evidence really broke the case open. Searchers found the rear axle from that Ryder truck a few blocks away from the blast, and on it they found a vehicle identification number, or VIN. That number was like a fingerprint for the truck, and it led the FBI right to the rental agency and, even more importantly, to the man who rented it.
And here's a really surprising part of the story. The main suspect, Timothy McVeigh, was actually already in jail. Just an hour and a half after the bomb went off, an Oklahoma Highway Patrol officer had pulled him over because his car didn't have a license plate. The officer then arrested him for carrying a weapon. So he was in custody before anyone even knew he was connected to the bombing. That arrest helped investigators figure out who was responsible and why they did such a terrible thing.
So 3 men were ultimately convicted. Timothy McVeigh was the main person behind the attack. He was an Army veteran. His friend from the Army, Terry Nichols, helped him get everything ready for the bomb. Then there was another friend, Michael Fortier. He knew what they were planning, but didn't tell the police.
So, why did they do it? The reason was that they were extremely angry with the U.S. government. McVeigh wanted revenge for 2 earlier events where the government was involved in standoffs at places called Ruby Ridge and Waco.
This timeline really shows what led up to the attack. You see, the date, April 19th, was chosen on purpose. It was exactly 2 years after the Waco siege ended, an event that made McVeigh very, very angry.
In the end, this is what happened to the 3 men. Timothy McVeigh, the mastermind, was sentenced to death and was executed in 2001. Terry Nichols was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. And Michael Fortier, who testified against the other 2, was sent to prison for 12 years. He was released in 2006.
But beyond all the details of the crime and the investigation, the most important part of this story is the people who were affected. The human cost was just unthinkable.
Altogether, 168 people were killed that day. That number even includes a rescue worker, a nurse who was there helping people when she was killed by falling debris.
And what's just so heartbreaking is that 19 of the victims were children. You see, the building had a daycare center on the 2nd floor, and that's where most of the children were when the bomb went off.
And on top of those who lost their lives, more than 800 other people were injured. Many of them had very serious injuries that affected them for the rest of their lives. But the story doesn't end with all that sadness. We're going to finish by talking about how the community came together and how the city remembers this event today. In the moments right after the bombing, something really amazing started to happen. The people of Oklahoma City and from all over came together to help. They showed so much kindness and generosity. This incredible response became known as the Oklahoma Standard.
Today, where the Murrah building once stood, there is now the Oklahoma City National Memorial. It has some really powerful parts, like 2 big gates called the Gates of Time, marking the minute before and the minute after the attack. There's also a tree there that actually survived the blast, and it's called the Survivor Tree.
The most moving part for many people is the field of empty chairs. There's 1 chair for every person who died, 168 in all, and 19 of those chairs are smaller than the rest, to remember the children who were lost.
Now, even though 3 men were convicted, it's worth knowing that some questions still linger.
For a long time, the FBI was looking for another man they called John Doe #2, and there are still debates today about whether other people might have been involved. Remembering events like this is so important. It helps us understand what happened, and it leads us to think about how we can all work to build a better, more peaceful future.